Hello, Be Well friends, and welcome back to the chapter of my life that I call the first semester of freedom. Now, in my previous video, I talked more about how I felt and what my process was after I made the leap and walked away from my 7 to 3 and what I really faced on the other side. But there was a lot I had to process before that decision was made. And this is me sharing one of the things that happened. It was on a phone call, and I was talking to a very close family member of mine who I discussed, these type of things with. And I was discussing my progress, the progress I've made towards my decision. And I hadn't made the decision yet, but I also shared the gaps that there were that I hadn't filled in yet. The things that I didn't have an answer for. And the decision was closing in on me because there was going to be a deadline. I had to either, document that and put it in writing that I was not coming back for the next school year, or I was going to have to just continue on as if everything was normal and be expected to come back, because that's where I was in my journey right at that moment. And I remember talking about where I was. And, when you have gaps in your plan or gaps in your preparation for something, you have two options: face it and say, okay, this is a gap. I don't have an answer for this, and decide that you're going to, leap with faith anyway. Or you can ignore the gap and act like it's not there, which I don't recommend, because facing it makes you make a decision that I'm going to have to move forward anyway. And the other alternative is just to go back and, say I'm not ready, and then business as usual. The decision was closing in. It was time sensitive, and I knew I didn't have all the answers. And I was explaining that, and I was giving details to where I was at. And then all of a sudden, my face just got wet with tears. And I was like, why am I crying? And I wasn't like emotionally crying, like I wasn't like upset, but my face there was just tears just coming down. And I kept thinking, what is wrong? I was wiping my face, like, what is going on? And it just dawned on me that I was going to have to leave behind something very familiar, something that I've been doing for years. I I didn't know what the other side was going to look like, but I knew that I would have to say goodbye to that version of me that I was so used to if I ever was going to meet the woman on the other side of my decision. Like, I couldn't hold on to my current existence and still be the woman that I'm going to be on the other side. I couldn't meet that version of myself. I knew I would never meet that version of myself if I didn't make the decision and leave. And it was like a crossroads, an emotional crossroads, because I was like, the tears were coming, and I was thinking, I know I can't completely answer everything on paper, but if I don't make this decision, I'll never know the version of me that is on the other side. And it was like a mourning. I had to mourn the death of the version of myself that I had to leave behind. And after that phone call, I just had to really, really sit down and think about the fact that I don't know what's on the other side. Like, I don't know who this version of myself will be, but I know this is the time, and I know it was in my spirit that I had to do this. I had to make this decision, and I had to get on the other side. And just the unknown of it all was just so overwhelming. But it was the day that I drew the line and said, I'm not turning back. I'm not turning back. I'm not waiting. I'm not going to do this another year. Like, rake over all the details again and, wait till the end of the summer. I was like, I'm not doing that. I said, this is it. This is the time where I have to make this decision. And I had to leave. So this was my process. And it reminded me that all the times in my life that I had to take a leap, it may not have been as big of a leap or may not be in the same way where it was so unknown. But every time I took a leap in my life, I had to say goodbye to the old version of myself. And sometimes that version of you is so familiar that you don't want to let go, even if you've outgrown it. You don't want to let go because it's attached to people that you may not be ready to leave behind. And there's so many things associated with that. But sometimes the new version of yourself that's on the other side of whatever decision you have to make, and you have to make it, you got to go meet that person. You got to hug them. You got to embrace them. You got to get to the other side, because that version of you is going to lead you into another space, another destiny that you will never know if you don't first say goodbye. So until next time, take the leap and say goodbye, and mostly be well.